Hello everyone. Today I'm just really briefly going to show you little bits and pieces of how I made this card. And I actually went ahead and used a few different retiring things in this. To begin with is this adorable stamp set. It's Piece Within. So what I did was I used some vellum, and in order to do that, I stamped it down in jet Black Stazon ink, and I have shown you how to do this. It's dry embossing. I've shown you how to do it in the past, so I'm just going to really quickly kind of demonstrate a little bit. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to give you a basic idea of how to do it, a refresher course for those who didn't see the previous video, my Easter card that I did when I did this. So you'll just, using a stylus with a ball point, like this, got a little ball, you're just going to rub all around the entire surface of the stamped image, inside the lines. And when you do it, I don't know if you noticed, but I stamped the image on this side. You can tell because it's darker on this side. It's more crisp on this side than it is on this side. Alright, so, and then I just flipped it over, and that's the side that you want to dry emboss. So you're just going to dry emboss the entire surface. Alright, and so let's pretend I've dry embossed the entire surface. Now, I used a whole boatload of markers to do this, and I mixed and matched them. Some were Stampin' Up, Stampin' Right markers, and some are these Bic markers. They're Bic Market markers, and I love these things. They have a nice little fine point, and they're alcohol-based, like Copic markers, so they do really great coverage. This one is Honey Brown. This is the one I used for the chair, so I'll just show you. And again, when you flipped it over and you dry embossed, you also want to color from the side that you dry embossed it, because when you do it, it's going to be dark on this side, and then when you flip it over, let's finish this real quick. Okay, it'll be this nice, soft, muted color. So it's really dark on the colored inside and really nice and muted on the other side. Alright, so I'm going to kind of do my best from memory to explain the colors that I used. So this was the Adobe Honey, or no, no, I'm mixing my colors here, Honey Brown. Alright, for the pillow, I used a Stampin' Right marker, and that was the Island Indigo. For the butterfly, I used the Marina Mist Stampin' Right marker. For these leaves, the bigger ones, I used, I believe it's Pizzazz. Yes, I used Pizzazz. For the stem, and you can't really tell the difference, but the smaller leaves, the stem and the smaller leaves, I used the Lucky Limeade Stampin' Right marker. For the cat, I used this one, which is Summer Melon, the Bic marker, and for her little lines, all these little lines, that's where I used the Adobe Orange. Let's see, for the dirt specks, all these little specks, and the dirt in the pot, which I don't know how well you can see that, I used Chocolate Chip Stampin' Right marker. And I also used that on the little, I guess they would be the bolts or whatever that hold the chair together, and the little knots that show up. There are only a few of them. For the flowers, I used Melon Mambo. I also used the Melon Mambo, and actually direct marker to stamp, I used that on the Piece Within Makes Beauty Without stamp from that Piece Within stamp set. I stamped it down, and then I just, using my 1-inch square punch. I just punched out the little banner ends, and then and this is using Blushing Bride. I just took it and I ran it across my marker to make the little bunch, or I don't know what you would want to call that, to kind of give it that dimension, and then I ran it back through. So what I would do is just kind of fold it, run it like that. Alright, and then at the ends, I took it to the back. Like that, so that it makes that nice little bump. And I just left the pot white. And I think that's all. Oh, and there are little dots in the butterfly, and you can barely see it, but I used Daffodil Delight for those. Alright, so the butterfly's got some dots, and then it's got a few little bit of lines on the edges of its wing. That's where I use the Daffodil Delight. I colored in some basic rhinestones using this bright yellow Sharpie marker. Now this is just a real, Sharpie marker. It's not one of the market Sharpie markers. I also colored some more in this bright, vibrant pink, and those are the basic rhinestones. And these, I actually colored them yellow and changed my mind, and then colored them with this green. So that's a combination of two colors, and I don't know if you can get this marker, it'll probably just show up similar to that. And I also colored these two in using this blue. Okay? Alright, then I took some Calypso Coral Baker's Twine, wrapped it around 3 times, and using some buttons from the Brights collection, designer buttons, I just used one of these. I tied it, tied the button on using the Calypso Coral, and tied a nice little bow. These mini clothespins are retiring as well, so I wanted to get a use out of that. Now, this piece of vellum underneath is a piece of very white, very whisper white cardstock. And what I did was I actually took some red line tape, because if you use any kind of adhesive, you're actually going to have it show through. So I wanted to be able to adhere these two pieces down without showing through. So I actually just took 3 pieces of red line tape, or sticky strip, whatever you call it, and just really little teeny tiny pieces, attached them to the back of these flowers, because the basic rhinestones make a good, and the color of it makes a good camouflage, so you can't see it, and that holds it fine, along with the mini clothespin. And I also put some glue dots underneath the, and you can't really see that, but there are glue dots there. There's one glue dot there and one glue dot there, and it holds it in place on top of the card. Also underneath, on the Whisper White cardstock, I did a masking technique. This is the piece that, all our stamps come with on this, and it's actually, these are attached together. I just pulled the foam off so that just the rubber piece is left. And you take it over a piece of paper, and in this case over the Whisper White, and using Crumb Cake and a sponge, where I did just the crumb cake down in this portion. And then I also used the Pool Party for a little bit of the sky color, and another sponge. And I just went around the rest of the area, so that when I laid the vellum over top of the Whisper White, so you can kind of see the crumb cake right there, and a little bit of the blue, the Pool Party. So it just kind of gives it a nice little subtle background. This is a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I used the Petals-a-Plenty embossing folder. And what I did was I embossed a piece of wax paper. And I laid the piece of Very Vanilla or Whisper White over top of it. You just take it and I use it on the first setting, so it's not very hot. It's the coolest temperature. So you would just iron, maybe a minute or so, and when it's done, you will barely be able to see the image. Just stuff out of the way. You'll barely be able to see the image as it's white. And what I did was, using Pool Party first, I just went and sponged the whole surface. So it's basically, I think it's called Emboss Resist. I can't remember for sure what it's called, but you just sponge the whole image. All of the petals-a-plenty will come up white, mostly. And then you'll see the Pool Party. And then I also used some Marina Mist. So I just lightly did a little bit of the Marina Mist to give it a little bit of dimension. And that's what that blue came out as. Okay, I believe that's it. That's my card. I corner punched just this corner, and this corner, and this corner, and this corner on the, well, the blue, and then also on the Blushing Bride, so that it leaves these corners like that. I kind of liked that. Originally, I actually had the card sitting like this, and I'll show you my original idea, which I'm not really in love with, but I don't absolutely hate either. This was my original idea. So when it came out like this, I was kind of pleased because I started with this, and this is actually just Whisper White cardstock. I stamped the image down, and then I just used markers and colored it in. And it's not the worst thing I've ever done, but it's not my favorite either. And with this background, I actually did, which colors did I do? Pear, Pizzazz, and I can't remember which pink I used. I want to say it was Blushing Bride. I can't find it right now. And then the Pool Party. So it was just the three colors, which is, I like the background. It's not the worst thing. And I like the, how dark this came out, but I prefer this. I think this is nice and soft and relaxing, and this one is like, bam, look at me. So, those are the projects. I hope you enjoyed it. I love this card. I'm super proud of how it came out because it took me like 6 hours to come up with this idea. So, I'm kind of pleased. And that's it for today. I'm sorry I kind of breezed right through all of that, but it would take forever for me to actually show you how I did all of this, and I didn't want a video that was 100,000 minutes long. So, until next time, happy stamping!